Deep down, deep in your bones, deep in your soul, you know that this person was bad for you. They were toxic, manipulative, narcissistic, or maybe they were all of those things. You know that this relationship wasn't good for you. And yet when you think about them now, there are these pangs of longing in your chest. And if you really stop and listen to what your heart is saying, what your body is craving, it is almost a primal, desperate begging. Why is it doing that? Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of this channel where we unpack all of the mess, the trauma, the healing, and the growth that happens in relationships and break it down with science, because understanding is the first step to healing. We're going to talk about why your heart still begs for them, even though you know they weren't good for you. If that sounds interesting and you're curious about what we'll be discussing, please make sure to subscribe before you leave. Why does your heart still beg for them? Logically, you know they were bad for you, so why does your heart still beg for them? This is actually an interesting phenomenon that has been studied by psychologists and neuroscientists, and there's a term for this. It's called trauma bonding. Trauma bonding is a defining characteristic of all abusive relationships. A trauma bond is a deep emotional attachment that often develops between a victim and their abuser. And the reason this happens is because the people who are abusive or toxic in relationships have a very unique way of being that makes you feel crazy, confused, gaslighted, and most of all, deeply insecure. And when you are deeply insecure, you will do anything to get your sense of self and your sense of security back. In this case, going back to that person is what you believe will bring you peace, but it won't. Stockholm Syndrome is similar to trauma bonding, but Stockholm Syndrome is generally used when talking about hostages and their hostage takers. Stockholm Syndrome occurs when the hostages develop positive feelings toward their captors, even to the point of defending their captor actions. The reason this happens, according to live science, is due to the fact that the hostages develop positive feelings towards their captors as a survival mechanism. For example, the hostage may feel that the captor is the only one who can protect them, which leads to positive feelings towards them. God. And the reason all of this works is because of something called classical conditioning. Classical conditioning is a learning process where an organism learns to associate events that occur together consistently. When two events are consistently paired together, an organism learns to anticipate the second event after experiencing the first. This is exactly how these toxic relationships work. Let's take a narcissist, for example. A narcissist knows just what to say to draw you in. You start off as friends, and they tell jokes, they make you laugh, and they become the person that you enjoy spending time with the most in the entire world. Then, when they feel like they have you hooked, then they start to show you who they really are. They start to criticize you, manipulate you, and use you. And the more you try to push back against the toxicity, the more they criticize, manipulate, and use you. You then experience a roller coaster of emotions. One minute you're laughing, enjoying yourself, thinking this is the best relationship you've ever had, and then the next you're re-crying in a ball because they said or did something so awful to you. This roller coaster of emotions paired with the highs that you do experience makes you crave them more and more, and you feel like you need them in your life. The same thing happens with someone who is codependent. Codependents crave acceptance, validation, and love from other people so much that they will do anything for it. And they pair that addiction with behaviors that initially make you fall in love with them, but then quickly turn into controlling behaviors. No matter what kind of toxic partner you had, they both had one goal: to keep you there, no matter how you got there. But the reason why this all happens is because of something happening in your brain. So let's move on to the next part of the video. 2. The withdrawal analogy. Have you ever gone through withdrawal before? Maybe you stopped drinking, or you stopped smoking, or taking drugs, or any sort of addictive substance. What did that process look like for you? How did it make you feel? What did you crave the most? If you're like most people, you probably experienced a variety of unpleasant symptoms, from anxiety to depression, from shaking to sweating to irritability and an inability to concentrate. You probably found yourself craving the thing that was causing you all of this the most. You probably thought you needed it to survive. This is exactly how your brain reacts when you end a relationship with someone who you've formed a trauma bond with. Researchers at Harvard scanned the brains of 21 study participants using MRI machines while they were missing their significant other. During the study, researchers told the participants to think of their significant other, Then switch the instructions to think of an acquaintance. Researchers noticed that when the subjects were thinking of their significant others, their brains lit up with activity in areas associated with craving and withdrawal. The same areas of the brain lit up when drug addicts are craving a fix. What does this tell us? That our brains react to losing a toxic partner in the exact same way it reacts to losing a hard drug. Why would it react that way? Because both scenarios activate the reward system in the midbrain. The reward system in the midbrain causes the release of dopamine, which produces feelings of pleasure and satisfaction. The reason your brain craves that person even though you know they re bad for you is because your brain is in a constant state of wanting more of that dopamine, more of that pleasure. Your brain doesn't care if they're bad for you. All it cares about is getting that dopamine fix. But there is hope. Even though your brain is craving this person, you have the ability to override it. You're not a slave to your brain. You're a slave to your habits, not your brain. You can choose to not give in to the cravings. So that brings me to number 3, how to break the cycle. The first step to breaking the cycle is to write a letter to them, telling them everything, letting it all out. After you write the letter, burn it. Watch it turn to ashes and blow away in the wind, because that is what you do with all the hurt and the pain that they caused you. You're going to let it go and blow it away. After that, you're going to sit with how amazing it feels to not hold on to that anger, that hurt, and that pain anymore. You're going to write down all the reasons why you do and want to go back to them. You're going to write down how amazing it felt to not have that rage in your chest anymore. You're going to write down how great it felt to stand up for yourself and walk away. You're going to write down all the amazing things about you that they never saw and all the amazing things about you that they destroyed. Write down every single thing that comes to mind. Then once you're done writing, rip that paper up into tiny pieces and throw it in the garbage, because that is what you're redoing with all those memories. All those moments that they made you feel so good, you're throwing it away because you don't need it anymore. You see, your heart is a prisoner, but you hold the key. It may be hard at first, but eventually you'll find that your heart won't be craving them anymore. And when it does, you'll find yourself with the strength and the power to resist those cravings. Eventually, you'll get to a place where, when you think about them, you don't feel that pull in your gut. When you feel that, run to that feeling. Run to that freedom. Don't ever look back. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you all for the support, thank you for the love, and thank you for the comments. I read each and every single one of them, and I love interacting with you guys. Let me know what you think about this topic, and let me know what topics you'd like me to cover next. Thanks again, and I'll see you all next week.